Hello, YouTubers. Welcome to another painting. Special treat for you today. This is one of my techniques that I love using. I'm not going to say I invented it, but until I started doing these, I never saw it anywhere else as far as this specific technique to get a texture on a painting. The way I do it is I sketch the painting up and then I put down hot glue. I actually draw over my image with hot glue, creating shapes and forms and reliefs on the canvas. When you do this, if you've ever used a hot glue gun, it leaves those little spider webs. So you want to go through and rub those off. That's what I was doing at the beginning there, rubbing off those kind of like glue spider webs so they don't get tracked into the paint. Once you have that all cleaned up, then you start laying down a color. What I like doing with these is creating like copper plates, like they're embossed copper plates. I've done it with gold and silver, variations of copper. Some are redder than others. But this is a good, just basic copper color paint. And what I do is I cover the entire surface with this copper paint. And as you can see, the textures are now coming through. You can see all the glue work that I did. And it's not easy. If you've ever tried to make a straight line with a super glue gun, a hot glue gun, then you'll realize that it's not very easy to get continuous, straight, uniform lines. And when you try to do an entire drawing with a hot glue gun, you'll find out real quick that it's tricky. How to get it to flow right, how to get it to drip out of the gun correctly. It takes some practice. Uh, takes some practice learning how to squeeze that trigger just right to get that glue to flow consistently. But as you can see, the textures are now coming through. You can see some areas I fill in solid to create solid shapes. But that's the idea, is to get a nice even layer of the copper color down first. Now this is going to be an antique plate when we get done. You'll see some other stages to this. So once you get the first layer down, I'll use like a heat gun and dry it all off and get everything nice and set. And you want to make sure that paint is dry within all those cracks and crevices. So once you put your next colors down or next, touch it with a brush again, you're not dragging paint out of an area you've already filled. So you want to make sure it's good and dry. Once you do that, you can come back and start laying on an additional color. Make sure everything's covered really well. And that's what I'm doing now, is laying that additional layer down. Just to make sure everything has a nice, even background. And sometimes the glue can be finicky to cover. Sometimes it doesn't want to cover the first time. But once you put that second layer down, that acrylic paint covers quite well. I've had people ask me, well, how does this last? How does it hold up? Does the glue stay on the canvas? Yes. Put some hot glue on a piece of textured painting canvas and see how hard it is to peel that off. I've probably done 20 of these by now, different subject matters, and I'll show you some of those in the future. But I wanted to show you this one first, just to give you a basic outline of how this is done. You can see it has a great sheen to it, like a copper plate. But now comes the antiquing part. And what I do is, you can saw my palette there real quick. I had the copper, black, and a aqua or turquoise type color. What I do is I take that turquoise color and I thin it down until it's like a wash. You don't want to use it straight out of a tube or straight out of your blend that you mix up. It's too thick. But you want to make kind of like a wash out of it. And what you want to do is you want to use that wash to, here I am kind of drying some of those cracks again. I was telling you about, I was getting ready to do that wash and it wasn't quite ready. So there I am drying it off, making sure it's all nice and set. And I rub my hand over it or a paper towel to make sure it's not grabbing any new paint. So now it's ready for that first antiquing stage, or the tarnish or patina that copper gets. So I want to put that patina color on here and make it look like aged copper. So I take that really wet paint that I have, wipe it all over the surface or paint it all over the surface, and then I take a towel and remove the excess, leaving that patina in the cracks like it normally would, like age. The patina would build up along the edges of that copper embossing. So I'm going through and just putting in that great patina color and wiping it all down. So that's the aging step right there, just to get that copper to look like it's aged. People love watching these when I did them on stream. They just thought it was so cool watching this come to life. And you can actually feel it. It actually has a great texture to it. Again, you want to make sure it's all nice and dry because you don't want the next stage to remove that nice patina you just put down. That's what I'm talking about, is making sure that it's dry within all those crevices. There you go. You see how that patina kind of stays in those nice spots? Makes it look nice and aged. Well, we've got the aging on it. We've got it patinaed. Now we want to give it some pop. When I started doing these, I realized this next step was very important. I will take some black, Mars black, lamp black, whatever my favorite of the day is. Thin it down as well until I get a nice black wash. And then I'll go over it and start covering it with that black. Again, wiping off the excess. See how that makes it just explode right off the canvas? It just makes it pop. Gives it that nice super detail. Fills in some of those really small glue details, around the scales and things like that. So if you want it to really just come to life, look at the difference in the top and the bottom already. So that stage right there is very, very important. And the last thing you do once it's all dry is give it a nice couple of coats of clear gloss sealer. And that makes the whole thing just really, really pop. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. I'll be sharing some more of these. Be looking for them. You'll really enjoy some of the other ones I have. They're much more detailed.